All right. Okay. I'm going to call this meeting to order of the Brawley City Council and successor agency to the Brawley Community Redevelopment Agency. Our regular meeting, April the 5th, 6 p.m. in our City Council chambers. Call to order, roll call.
Councilmember Hamby.
Here.
Councilmember Wharton.
Here.
Councilmember Castro.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Nava.
Here.
Mayor Couch.
Here. Okay, invocation. Councilmember Hamby.
Why not? Let's bow our heads and pray. Almighty God and gracious Heavenly Father, we're thankful to you tonight for your many blessings that you pour out on the city of Brawley. We're thankful for the employees and the staff that we have here that work so hard to keep our city moving forward. Thank you for the wisdom that you give us each meeting that we gather together to make the right decisions for the progress of our city. I ask that you would continue to watch over our city in regards to the pandemic, Lord God, that you would continue to pull us out of that, continue to watch over us with health. And I ask that you would watch over our proceedings tonight. Again, Lord, help us to make the right decisions. Keep our city safe. Lord, watch over our firefighters, our policemen, our city staff. And just help us to move forward and help us to see better days ahead in the city of Brawley. I ask in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. Councilmember Wharton, could I ask you to lead us in the flag salute, please?
Be my honor. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. Item number 1, approval of the agenda. I entertain a motion for that.
So moved. No
I have a motion. I have a second. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Motion carries. Item number 2 is public appearances and comments not to exceed 4 minutes. This is the time for the public to address the council on any item not appearing on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city council. The mayor will recognize you, and when you come to the microphone, please state your name for the record. You are not allowed to make any personal attacks on individuals or make comments which are slanderous or which may invade an individual's personal privacy. Please direct your questions and comments to the city council. Okay. And we have item, are there any public presentations, public appearances, other than what we already have agendized? If not, then I'll move to item number 2D, which is introduction of the new finance manager, Sylvia Luna, presented by Carla Romero, finance director.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. It is my distinct honor and pleasure to introduce to you Ms. Sylvia Luna. You've seen her before. She's a super hands-on, results-oriented accounting professional. She has progressive experience both in the private and public sector. She holds both a bachelor's and a master's degree in business administration with emphasis in accounting and finance. She was first hired here with the City of Brawley in February of 2020 as our management analyst under the guise of Tyler Salcido being the finance director, so he's really the one that stole this gem and brought her to the city. And during that time, is when the pandemic first started, and that did not stop her. She has done some tremendous things in the finance department, successfully implemented several new process improvements, administered grants that were new for our senior citizens for utility assistance, assisted other departments, and trying to procure additional grants for parks. She's also managed to implement our citywide financial system upgrade, which is a huge endeavor, and especially under such stressful times with COVID, it was all done remotely first, and that was the first for many cities. Usually you have a hands-on consultant, and so she was able to administer all of that and coordinate those efforts. She's an Excel wizard. Every time I can't figure something out, I go to her and say, can you make this work? And she does. She's a great public speaker, a true rare gem, and just a pleasure to work with. So it's my distinct honor to tell you that she's been promoted to the finance manager, and we're happy to keep her here at the city, and I look forward to many other great things with her.
Thank you, Carla. Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. I would just like to take the opportunity to first thank all city staff that I've had the opportunity to work with during the past 2 years. Just want to thank them overall for allowing me to work with them, for their patience, for listening, and for sharing their knowledge with me. I have had the opportunity to meet very talented and committed individuals that I really enjoy working with. So I'm extremely grateful for that. I would also like to take the moment to thank my mentors. I have more than one. So that's one of the many blessings Brawley has given me as when I just started working here. I just want to thank them for taking the time to teach me, guide me, and provide me for opportunities like this to continue to learn and grow. Overall, I'm extremely honored to have the opportunity to act as the finance manager, and I look forward to continue to work together as a team to make great things happen for the city and our community. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Very nice, very nice. Okay, any comment from anybody?
Yeah, I think we all up here have seen you work through some of the workshops that we've had, and I was impressed. I haven't seen you a whole lot in action, but those few workshops that you presented, it was obvious that you knew the material so well because it's just ingrained in you. And we are very fortunate to have someone of your caliber working with the city of Brawley. And it's just been a year or two of good luck, of blessings, of getting the right people positioned into those positions of leadership or right underneath so they could promote upward. And so we're very, very happy to have you promote up.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations, Sylvia. And again, just referencing the times you've come to council and bring the content that Carla was referencing was obviously very impressive. But I think I want the public to know is that you've helped to really not only plan, execute some significant change, and this is change that's been in motion, I know, over the past several years, but to be able to come on board and really just augment that and help get our agency to where it's at. And as exciting, I think, where it's going. Who would have thought that, all we talk about, many times in council is how excited we are about finance. Says nobody, right? And it really has been the case. It's really become one of the strengths of the city. And I talk to many citizens, and I talk about it all the time. I think Tom and some of the front row folks that are here, that on record, I'm telling you, I have talked about the strength of what, the people we have in place. So congratulations, Sylvia.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations, Sylvia. As soon as I saw the agenda this weekend, you haven't been here 2 months, so I think our interface has been very limited. But I remembered right away who it was. I was like, yeah, that's cool. Because I remember asking you some key questions last year when we were playing around with all these budgets and looking, preparing for in case the utility tax didn't go through and whatnot. So I was very impressed with all that. I just want to echo what they were saying. Very happy that we promoted from within, and very happy that it's you. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yes, congratulations. Very pleased and proud that you've been promoted, and we're also very pleased and proud with the finance department, and all we have is good things to say, and we're very pleased that financially, we've been doing pretty well as a city, even during COVID and even after COVID, and we know that the staff over there is very responsible for much of that. So very pleased, and congratulations to you.
Thank you.
And I'll offer my congratulations as well, Sylvia. And, I rely on other staff members for input because we obviously, as council, we don't interact with you or others sometimes very often. But, I have been impressed with the work that you've done here. But other staff members have specifically mentioned you and the effort that you've made in our implementation of certain software and other things. So they were very impressed, and they made it a point to mention you. And so I mentioned that last time, but I think it's really important for, not just for you to understand that, but your fellow staff members as well. It takes an entire team of people, all of staff, to come together, and I appreciate the fact that you thank them as well, because it does take everybody working in every department. Really, no department is more important than others than another, because it takes every department to work together to function and work as a city. But I can tell you, in any operation, it takes a finance department that's strong and knowledgeable to operate an entire organization, right? So congratulations to you. I know you're going to do well, and I appreciate the work and the effort that you're putting in, and thank you again for being part of really a dynamic team. So congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Super.
Okay, so we'll go to item number 2E, which is the D4 certification received by Stephen Morales, Senior Environmental Compliance Officer, presented by Guillermo Cias, Public Works Director. Guillermo.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council, Guillermo Sillas, Public Works Director. We're here to recognize staff that continue pursuing additional knowledge and certifications, even when the job description or the task that they are, the duties that they are performing is not required. But there's certain individuals like Mr. Steven Mireles that continue pursuing, more certifications and more knowledge to perform his job better, and also with the ability to provide additional help to other fields in the city because he's certified in other areas like water treatment or wastewater treatment or distribution systems. And so that's the reason to recognize him, continue with his career. Just a little bit of information about him. I'm sure that you recognize him from many times, but it is also good to remember how he started with the city. He holds a bachelor's degree in political science, and he joined the city in October 2016 as a volunteer for the pretreatment division. In February 2017, he moved to as a temporary worker. On June of the same year, 2017, he was the supervisor of pretreatment division. And on February 2021, just last year, he was promoted as a senior environmental compliance officer. He holds a wastewater pretreatment specialist certification, backflow tester certification, cross-connection control specialist, water treatment grade 3, and water distribution grade 4. He is a unique individual that combines the knowledge and the theory of a college with the hands-on. So he's not shy when he has to perform, heavy activities like cleaning up pumps or, removal material from the lift stations, and also prepares excellent reports and letters to comply with the regulation. He interacts with the industries. So he's a unique individual, and I'm sure that you remember that he decided to follow the steps of his father, Ruben Mireles, another excellent expert that we are fortunate to continue having him as a consultant. And that's the reason to join me to congratulate Mr. Steven Mireles for his additional certification this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Guillermo, for those kind words, and Mayor and Council. It's been a pleasure working with the City of Brawley. I love being able to work where I grew up and being able to give back to the community that has given so much to me. In water, wastewater, and water distribution, we're dealing with very complex systems. And so it takes a lot of education as well as experience to gain these certifications. I'm very proud that I've been able to not only get the know-how in books, but have the opportunity here at the City of Brawley to get the experience that qualified me for these licenses. I also have a wonderful just relationship with all the other professionals that work at our water plant, at our water distribution system, and also at our wastewater facility. Managing these complex systems have great ramifications for fire suppression, for bringing business opportunity to the City of Brawley, as well as growth of our community. And I'm proud that you've given me the opportunity as well as the trust in managing these very complex and important systems within the city.
Thank you.
Great job.
Good job.
And Mr. Mireles, we're lucky to have you. We're we're always glad to see when staff members and employees continue to educate themselves and move up to the next level. And so we're grateful for the work you do because, like the finance department, the water treatment and wastewater treatment plants are vital to keeping the city moving. So thank you for the work that you're doing.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And Stephen, again, obviously just adding to that, always appreciate your attention to detail, your communication with not only, obviously your teammates, but really us as council. And you've really proven yourself there. I'll admit, I don't know what a D4 certification is, and I don't even know what a D1, 2, or 3 are, but I'm assuming there's certainly something that are what I would consider you as subject matter experts. So, again, we're fortunate because I think what Guillermo just recounted about, it's hard to believe in a short period of time what you've been able to do, which I know has advanced our city. So I'm not going to steal our Mayor Pro Tem's thunder because I know he's actually passionate about some of the stuff you do when it comes to that part of our city. But like we always say, people don't appreciate, maybe some of these services, but if it didn't work, they'd sure know it, right? So again, appreciate it and congratulations.
Thank you.
Hey, congratulations, Stephen. Yeah, one thing, not just to echo their comments, but I actually, we're neighbors. I think everybody knows that now. He lives one straight over here in Parkside. But we've had several conversations, and the one thing that I've always taken from our conversations is how much you truly care about the city. And I think that matters from the top to the bottom, that are staff and employees of the city that care, that understand they're part of the community, and you do. And I think that reflects not just on your work, but in the fact that you're always doing something to make yourself better. And I think anybody who's we always talk about wages and people want to get promoted and whatnot, but very few people actually look at the fact that they have to make themselves better every single day and provide more value to their services and what they're getting paid for. And you do that. And I appreciate the fact that you're doing that, and not just that, the fact that you truly, truly care about our city. So congratulations, and just keep it going, brother.
Thank you.
Well, no, congratulations, Stephen. I'm always impressed by your performance. You've done a very good job for the city of Brawley since you started here, even as a volunteer. But your presentations to the council, and you take some technical matters and make it easier for us to understand. But, the one thing I say about water treatment and wastewater treatment is just it's complicated, right? And a lot of people, they don't really think about it. And so they don't, they expect the water to run through the faucet whenever they turn it on, and they expect the toilet to flush and go away, right? But they don't understand the delivery systems, they don't understand, and they expect clean water, right, to drink and to use at home, and they, expect the wastewater to go away and be treated somehow. They don't exactly know what happens. But I've had the opportunity as a council member here to visit the sites, and you've been responsible for helping guide those tours, and quite honestly, you learn so much, and so your responsibility is high, and I appreciate the fact, just like Councilmember Castro is saying, that you've taken the time, the energy, the effort to advance yourself. Because it's true, there are talks about, of course, advancement in careers and other things, but, you do have to advance yourself, and you've done that. So I appreciate that in any line of work, right? It's very important, but this is really a critical function of the operation of any city, right? Water delivery and wastewater treatment, and so I appreciate the fact that you're advancing yourself. And I thank you very much for the work that you're doing, because not everybody has that time and dedication to doing that. So thank you very much. And I will never say to anybody that the work that you do or anyone in your departments is easy, because it's not. It's very, very difficult, challenging work. And, again, people expect water to be delivered when they open the faucet and to be treated when it leaves. And there's so many processes in between those two. Right. So anyway, thanks again, and congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Stephen. I've always been impressed with your work in the last few years. We've worked together. We've talked about a lot of different things. One of the things that has impressed me is your ability to deal with industry people and make them comply in a way that isn't that isn't a clash all the time. In other words, they comply. I think you're able to get the message across to them. You have a good rapport in dealing with people. And so as far as the industry people go, I think you've helped us a lot in that area. And I think that's an important part of the job, along with all the technical stuff that goes along with it, because I don't know what a D4 certification is either, but I know it's probably really important. And so, yeah, water delivery, and I know it's very important, though. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud that you have received the certification, and we're certainly proud to have you a member of the Brawley family working for the city of Brawley and the people of this great city. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cool.
Okay, item 2F, and that's a proclamation declaring April 10th through April the 16th, 2022 as Public Safety Dispatcher Week, and it's presented by myself, the mayor, and I'll read the proclamation. Whereas National Public Safety Telecommunications Week has been designated as April 10th through April 16th, 2022, whereas National Public Safety telecommunications professionals serve the public in countless ways as dedicated men and women responding to calls and dispatching assistance to help save lives, property, and preserve the peace of our citizens, and whereas without the essential communications link provided by communications operators, officers, firefighters, and EMS personnel would be hampered in their ability to function and serve as guardians of public safety, and whereas during National Public Safety Telecommunications Week, April the 10th through April the 16th, these professionals who perform their duties often without recognition are honored for their hard work and dedication. Now therefore, I, Sam Couchman, Mayor of the City of Brawley, do hereby proclaim April 10th through April 16th, 2022 as National Telecommunications Week in Brawley. And herein wish to recognize all emergency communications operators handling police, fire, and medical calls who work for the city, county, state, and federal agencies throughout Imperial County by dedicating this week as National Telecommunications Week for their achievements and professionalism. And I have affixed my seal to this. And we have a certificate to present, and I think some of the young ladies are here in the audience. I'd like to have them come forward and accept the certificate.
Let him do it.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, maybe, could we get maybe?
Want to get a picture?
Yeah.
Well, maybe if they have
But
a
maybe
few
with the
words to
chief,
say.
and the chief. And the other chief.
Get out of the way. Get out of the way.
Two chiefs.
Two chiefs. Get the council. Now, let me get all the council members in here.
Chief, were you taking selfies right now? Is that?
I saw him smiling, I saw that.
Oh, no, wait, don't leave.
We had to go back to work, but like.
There's nobody in tonight, no one in dispatch.
Okay, well, we can take that one now because we're not out of public comments yet. Okay, I think we had a public comment that came in a little bit late, and we'll go ahead and hear that since we're in the public comments section of the thing. Is someone ready to come forward? Eric?
Hello, Eric Reyes. I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to the city of Brawley and all the departments that helped us put on a tremendous event on Saturday, Cesar Chavez Events. As you know, it takes a lot of individuals to make it done, from the planning and so on, not just on our end, but the city and everything you guys put into it. So I know you had multiple meetings and went over all the plans, and everything went off pretty much flawlessly. So we thank you, Rachel Fonseca from Parks and Rec, and Guillermo from Public Works, and the PD who did some walkthroughs. I always welcome them. I think it's great for the public to see them at these excellent events and learn to, there's other sides to them too. They're just like the rest of us, right? And there might have been a little bit of issues. We took care of them and with the people that we had, and at the end, hopefully we met the expectations of how we left the park as well after. I think it was a respectful and dignified night. And that's pretty hard when people are drinking all night, all day and all night, right? So I think it was a success in that way. But I want to thank you again for so many years that the city supports what we do, and then we give back in a lot of ways that we can. So thank you again to everyone involved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Okay, so we'll go to item number, if that's all the public presentations, I don't believe there are any more. We will go to item number 3, the consent agenda, and I would welcome.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second that
I have
motion.
a second. Okay, any discussion on that? No? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Okay, and now we'll go to item number 4, which is the city manager's report.
Nothing at this time, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Number 5, regular business. 5A, an update on the City of Brawley declaration of local emergency as a result of COVID-19 pandemic and the overall outlook presented by Mike York, Fire Chief. Mike, you're up.
Evening, Mayor Couchman, City Council, City Staff, Mike York, Fire Chief. A very brief update. There's very little to report. What we're seeing is our numbers have very much stabilized, very low. There are still people that are sick in our county. There are still people receiving care. There is still a pandemic going on, but we are seeing a lot less hospitalizations, a lot less serious illness, and a very good turnout still for vaccinations and boosters. As expected, our variant data is behaving exactly as predicted, where we're starting to see a fall off of the Delta cases. Omicron is picking up. There was quite a bit of concern when Omicron first came out about its lethality, its virality, things like that. But what we're seeing is it's behaving just like other variants. If there are any questions, I'll do my best to answer.
Any questions from the council?
No.
Any questions from the public?
Is there any briefing that we're getting from the state level as far as what's ahead? I'm hearing some of the news reports, other parts of the world.
Nothing official has come down. As it was predicted when at the beginning of the pandemic, we were getting very frequent, literally daily, and then tapered off to weekly briefings. As the EOCs have closed down, we're starting to hear less and less active news and more when decisions are made or when policies are being released.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, we'll go to item number 5B, review and potential action to approve professional services agreement with First Carbon Solutions for the preparation of an initial study supplemental environmental impact report and associated technical analysis for the potential annexation of Rancho Los Lagos from the County of Imperial for a not-to-exceed amount of $276,505 and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement presented by Carla Romero, Finance Director, City Treasurer. Carla?
Hello again, good evening. I am here to present the following 2 items, but I am certainly not a planner and I'm not an engineer or an annexation expert, but I'm the conduit that is trying to facilitate all of these matters.
Okay.
So as my backup, my muscle, I've got Gordon Gass, which is a retired community development director. He's on Zoom and available to answer any questions from a planning perspective. And also Tom DeBose from DeBose Design Group is here. He's a representative of the owners, also a conduit between the owners and the city in trying to get this potential annexation underway. And then I just confirmed with Miss Laura Benson, there are 3 family members here from the Benson family, which are co-owners of the property. And I'm sure they're also available to answer any questions regarding the development, should you have any.
Okay.
So I'm going to start off with just a brief background of the project. The project was presented to you in October. So you might be asking, how did we get to this point? Why are we talking about potential annexation? Currently, the area that is there as the specific plan area is the potential annexation portion or acres, it's 1,076 acres. It's currently farm ground. It's been owned by the Benson and Jameson family since 1983. In 2012, they did receive Imperial County Board of Supervisor approval for the the Rancho Los Lagos specific plan. And then in 2018, they had a LAFCO application for potential CFD or community facility district. 2018 concerns or discussions regarding water treatment arose and the proximity to the city. And at that point in 2012, people started asking, well, why wouldn't the project just be annexed by the city of Brawley, and would that be a consideration? So fast forward to this winter, the last few months, we've been having some internal meetings with the owners, and then also with Mr. Tom DeBose and Gordon and Tyler and a few other people here internally in the city, talking about what are the studies that are needed in order to facilitate annexation. What portions of those studies is the developer willing to pay for? And then what are the rates? And we need to also have a contract approved by the city council in order to facilitate those studies that are needed. So that's where we're at today. The developer has agreed to pay 100% of both of the items. And they also include a 10% overhead for city staff to review everything or to hire additional services as needed to help facilitate the two items that are for you tonight. This is just an overview of what the development looks like. Again, it's a mixed-use development, includes both residential and commercial products. Within the 1,076 acres that are proposed to be potentially annexed into the city. And do you have any questions on the development before I go into the contract itself?
Any questions?
I'm sorry. Yeah, you mentioned commercial and residential, but no mention of the business park. Is this not included in the study?
Do you want to answer that, Tom? Or Laura?
Might have to refresh my memory, but I mean, we went over this.
Yes, we did.
It's been
Hi.
a long time ago.
Laura Benson Vandewey, hi. The studies will include all acres, the entire area, yes. So just to be clear.
Perfect. So it does include the business area. Any other questions from the council?
How long is the study expected to take?
The first carbon one is 52 weeks, or approximately 52 weeks, and the other one is approximately 6 months. So half of that, 32.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Any questions from the public?
It's not so much on this project. This is an excellent project. I think, I know Steve had talked about it about almost 20 years ago, I think we filed it, right? Yeah, right. I remember when they were going to build the fire station on the east side, in fact, at that time they were planning this expansion that way as well. They were saying in the future you're going to need another firehouse
That's
that way.
a possibility. If
Yeah,
we move that way.
that was talked about 20 years ago, so I know it's been a long time. So my question is related to all growth in the city of Brawley. I was on the planning commission 20 years ago, maybe at that time also, and we, city did a study on development impact fees, and we only implemented the first 2 years of maybe 6 years of it. So now you're obviously way behind on development impact fees. We do not need a regressive tax when everything costs too much and you bring it on the rest of the residents. People who are gonna make these developments need to pay their fair share. The market is sky high, so it's not gonna add to that price of home built. Same thing that happened before. They dropped the other years because that's when the market tanked. So they said, well, it's going to add to the developers won't want to come. Well, they were selling homes at the time at even prices higher than today at that time. So development impact fees have to be properly implemented so you don't have a regressive tax like Imperial has done, Calexico has done in their rush to get development, and then the rest of the residents have to pay that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good point. Okay. Any other questions? Any other comments?
Continue. We can continue. We can continue, I think.
So the first contract before you is for First Carbon Solutions. They are doing the bulk of the studies. The studies are noted there on the left-hand side. Again, it's about a 52-week project. The total contract sum is $276,505. Again, the developer is paying 100% reimbursement to the city. It is on a city official approved contract. We did negotiate that. And then the exhibit is a scope of work provided by First Carbon Solutions that has been approved by Gordon, Tom, and other city staff. And there will be an extensive internal collaboration of city departments in order to get all of these studies done in a timely manner.
With respect to payment, I know it's developer paid, but what's the process that you'll be holding with respect to finance? What, for example, like, I mean, it's not going to be all paid at once, but
Right.
how can you walk us through that?
So we've negotiated doing like quarterly payments. We're doing an upfront payment, and then doing quarterly. We'll be providing some reconciliations to the developer. The consultant also knows that they will not be paid unless we have received payment first from the developer in order to pass on those service fees to pay for those services. So it's in the best interest of everyone to get along and to keep up with the project as it's programmed.
And I would imagine contractually, we're protected in that sense? There is language in there?
Yes, there is a 30-day clause for termination of the contract should we not receive payment or we not see that there's consensus in the direction that we are going, then we would terminate the contract in 30 days.
Thank you.
And also reviewed by the city attorney.
Yeah.
Any other questions? If not, I'll entertain, what's the pleasure of
Yeah,
the
you know-
council? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion. First, I'd just like to make a comment of, as we move forward with this project, obviously, when I first saw this, when I first came on council, I was very excited about this. And I think I'm one of the ones that, posed one of those questions of annexation, right? When that wasn't in the, even being considered at that point. Mr. DeBoe, you came up here last time and spoke on some of the building or construction practices that were going to eventually save the city a lot of money in the long run. Because, if you guys have heard me before, I talk about roads and sidewalks as should be listed as liabilities and not assets. If we could have some of those updates, I'd love to see that in the near future as we start moving forward. Because, we want to have that information when it's time to make a decision. I'm very excited about it. Obviously, you guys have seen already how I operate and the way I think about city resources and what we can do with them. So with that, I'll make a motion to approve the item.
Mayor, if I may comment, Councilmember Castro, one of the studies that hasn't been presented to you but will in the future is a fiscal impact study too.
Great.
So that will be coming as well down the road.
Absolutely.
Get that. Okay, I have a motion. I'm looking for a second.
Second?
Okay, I have a second. Okay, any further discussion?
Just a comment.
Just- yeah.
Right. This is first presented, at least to the city, to some degree, many years ago. It's like a decade ago that we first, at least since I've been on council. And so it's good to see that it's moving forward. I know we met within the past 12 months, and I told you, this is, I think, an open group, right, with respect to city council members and city staff. And I think that we're open to development and open to opportunity. So I think it's a good, you're putting your money to our benefit, and I think at the very least it presents a study and it will allow us to see if that's the right move for everyone. So I'm glad that there's a motion and a second, and I'm glad that it's moving forward. So.
Mayor Pro Tem, same thing, I'd like to, before we go ahead and vote, go ahead and make the comment as well. And really to public benefit, being on this council now for over a decade and being a part of, really annexations aren't something that come around, maybe for most electeds, because they're rare. They don't happen very often. And when you look at Brawley in terms of where we're going east, to some extent now, where we're talking right now going south, you really kind of get a vision. I think Mr. DeBose came up here and did a good job publicly explaining what Brawley can look like in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. So these projects take tremendous effort and investment. And but beyond that, really vision and a vision right here in our community. So again, appreciate being a small part of this process, but know that there's a long ways to go, and I hope, whether it's this council and future councils, as these things, come together and get down the road, that we get to see this, come to fruition. So that was just my comment, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments, additional comments? Anything? I do think that corridor is the future to a large extent of Brawley. It will be one of the key elements in Brawley's future in terms of development, both commercially, residential, and all of that type of thing. I also think the bypass is open for that type of effort too. So I look forward to this. We're seeing some development out there right now. This could be a large part of that development. So certainly I'm in favor of this, moving this project forward and doing this study.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to also say that I think this council as a whole has made an effort to become more data-driven, or at least to have data in front of us that we can use to make wise decisions. And so this study hopefully will go toward that as well. Data that we can look at and say, yes, this is good for the city of Brawley, or no, it's not going to work for us. But thank you for putting your money where your mouth is and making this an effort to go forward.
Mayor, Councilman, if I could just add a comment to that, Councilmember Hamby, I think that's absolutely true. This council it is data-driven. We get good information. We make better decisions, right? And so my point to earlier was like it's not always, and it hasn't always been data-driven on council.
That's right.
I've been here a long time, worked with a lot of council members, and sometimes ideas like theirs were shot down before they were even considered.
Yeah.
And so now we're at a different point. We're at a point where this council and this staff and the community as a whole is very supportive of, difference and change and improvement, right? And we're starting to slowly see that within our staff, within the development that's taking place within our community. So I agree with you, is that, this council is really, we're trying to make better decisions based on information, good information, and not just rely entirely on our intuition or our feelings, and so I think that's some mistakes in hindsight that have been made, and I'm just proud to be part of this group. So anyway, enough of but it's true, absolutely. I've been here long enough to know. And so.
And just to, just to go a little deeper, I know we're going to get a fiscal impact report, but a couple of weeks ago, I asked, as we move forward and how we're going to save money for the city, I asked for old ordinances that we can modify or eliminate or change, just so that it would allow us to save money going forward as we continue the maintenance on our streets and whatnot. And so as we review this project and some of the changes that are coming forward that are being proposed, that perhaps would go hand in hand with some of the ordinances and the changes that at least I would like to see done. This is all based on what would cost our city to run our city, right? And so sprawling communities are very expensive. Sometimes they overbuild, and then 30 years later it's time to pay the piper. And so I have that in mind because I plan on staying here till I die, and I hope my kids stay here. So I have that front and center. So that's why I asked for that, so that hopefully as we're reviewing the ordinances, that we can work on that and we can fix some of that stuff to help your project move forward. And at the same time, we don't take on that liability for the next, as long as it's there. So,
Councilmember Castro, if I may, yes, your concerns were heard, and definitely we are thinking outside the box and looking how things could possibly do different as it relates to how, for an example, how wide a street is or what have you, and those will be coming to you down the road, hopefully.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, that's all part of, and this is the
Yeah,
perfect
just relating
opportunity
everything,
to look at those type of things.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, you got a first and a second. Motion and a
Absolutely.
Yes,
second.
I have a motion and a second. We'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay.
We'll keep on talking.
Yeah, we will.
Well, I know, I've got to take back control. I'm losing it.
It's important to have these conversations.
It is.
It's kind of
I
like
agree.
a big deal.
In this kind of situation with this project, yes, it is important to have
Yes,
the conversation.
absolutely.
Okay. Item number 5C, review and potential action to approve professional services agreement with Rick Engineering Company for the preparation of an updated service area plan for a not-to-exceed amount of $35,000 and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement presented by Carla Romero, Finance Director, City Treasurer. Again.
Thank you. I did want to add one additional comment. This, again, is for the annexation. It's a different service study area plan that is needed in order to fulfill the requirements for the annexation. But you you all had wonderful comments. I will say also from the city staff perspective, we have had great engagement with the developer, the owners, with Tom. We have been sharing information back and forth that is mutually beneficial. And so we're looking forward to that to continue to happen throughout this process. So this particular contract with Brick Engineering is for 36 weeks, proposed to end about December 31st. Contract amount is $35,000. Again, 100% reimbursed by the developer. On city template, city contract, and again, would also require internal coordination of certain departments.
Okay, thank you. With some reservation, I'll ask for comments from the city council members. Do we have any? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
A second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, if not, all those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, moving right along. Thank you very much. Thank you, Carla. Okay. Okay, item 5D.
Thank you, Gordon.
Well, yeah, thanks, Gordon. What's Gordon at? I don't know. 5D, discussion and potential action to approve Imperial Valley Mural's request to apply a Greetings from Brawley mural at 623 Main Street and provide up to $1,500 to support the cost of the mural, presented by Rachel Fonseca, Parks and Recreation Manager. Rachel, you're
Good
up.
evening, members of the council. Rachel Fonseca, Parks and Recreation Manager. So the department received a request from Araceli Gutierrez with Ivy Murals to apply a Greeting from Brawley mural on the west wall of 623 Main Street, and a request for a contribution from the city to assist with purchasing the painting supplies for the mural. Since the mural is considered a sign under the Brawley Municipal Code, it requires city's permission before being installed. And I also wanted to convey that the city currently does not have a mural policy, and one is being developed and will be presented at a later council meeting. But in the meantime, a mural installation and maintenance agreement was prepared by the city attorney, and staff reviewed the agreement with the property owner, Tony Reynoso, and mural artist Jesus Lopez to ensure proper care, installation, and maintenance of the Greetings from Brawley mural. And two of the key terms are that the property owner is responsible for the care, maintenance, repair of the mural, and that a property owner must sign property owner and the mural artist must sign the agreement before they can begin applying the mural. And Araceli with Ivy Murals is here to offer council a brief presentation on the mural request and to answer any questions that council may have on the mural.
Okay.
So good evening. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council members. So I am here to present the art mural that we have in mind for installation on Main Street that reads Greetings from Brawley. And I am here, of course, to request the approval of this project to begin as soon as possible. So as you can see here, my motive behind the Imperial Valley murals, which I'm currently leading, is to introduce a public art beautification and sort of get rid of that taboo of, you know, what people think of when they think of public art. So they think a lot about graffiti or vandalization. So I'd like to kind of change our perspective on that, but also offer our artists, our local artists, a chance to express their talent on our walls. So this is an idea right here. So the first slide I have here is entitled Public Art Beautification, so empowering the community. There has been, there are many, there's much research done that has concluded that public art does empower the community, brings people together. And this program in particular, I want to benefit everyone. So no matter their background, no matter their age, no matter, oh, I'm still on this. Yeah, so no matter the age, the background, or what have you, the economic situation, so everybody would be involved in their abilities, disabilities, and whatnot. So these are actually 3 examples that I put together from Art Reach in San Diego. So these are 3 schools that have been transformed through art. And these are the sort of ideas that I have in mind as far as how we can beautify Brawley or the Imperial Valley in general. So these very non-political, just very basic, so kind of sort of empowering and neutral images that are positive and have vibrant colors. Oh, can I get to the next slide? Oh, here it is. Okay, so this is pretty much what I'm going to cover in this hopefully brief presentation. So why here in the Imperial Valley, why now and why us, but also how public art can benefit the community and the cost that we have, the cost that can come from that. Oops. Ooh, why isn't it going? Okay, here we go. Thank you. So, yeah, so why here and why now? So, of course, Imperial Valley, as I mentioned before, has tons of talent, and I'd like for them to come out and to have a public platform in which they can use their talent to benefit the community and also engage with the community. So, of course, we have to have the communication between the artist and the wall owner or the business owner, and then also the city, as I've learned. So there's just a lot of parties involved, and that requires a lot of communication between all these parties. So that just makes a person, or whether an artist or a business owner, just more aware of what's happening in the city. And I like that sort of engagement that it would create, so this bonding among the community. Art is communication, and it can express anything you'd like. So each city has its own community values, and that is kind of where I want to start off, especially with this first mural that I'd like to, that I'm proposing to be approved of, that states "Greetings from Brawley," and it has within it all of a good representation of what Brawley is. So, so art has been known to bring communities together, but also to elevate an awareness of what is happening in the community, the history of the community. It tells stories, so we can also empower our locals with a few stories of the past of what Brawley is or what it is now. So why now? So the obvious reason of why I'd like to start this now is because we've been in a sort of lockdown the last 2.5 years or so, and everybody is probably kind of unsure of how they can go back into the streets and socialize. And I think this is a good reason or a healthy way to get people out of their homes and out walking the streets and exploring the city a little bit more. So it'll bring people together, and they'll probably, upon looking at these murals, they'll engage in some kind of dialogue and grow with one another. Okay, so then just very quickly about me. So I am born and raised in Brawley. I graduated not in 2008, I wish. I graduated in 2003 from Brawley High. And I do have degrees in art history and visual arts from UC Irvine and from Art University in Germany. And I currently teach at IVC, SDSU, and I teach German at the German Pacific School of San Diego, and I am also an employee of Art Week San Diego as a teaching artist. So I've seen personally how public art can transform communities, and it's just super exciting when you get people involved in the community. So such as people from schools, we ask people from schools to help paint different parts of the mural, and so they're really proud, and they bring their families over, and it's wonderful to see an artwork come to life and how it really attracts a lot of people who are walking by, and they want to know more about it. And it's just really exciting. And again, inspires dialogue, inspires community. People get to know one another. And I just think it's a great benefit for our community to get people out on the streets again. Right, so then my goal is basically to offer local artists. So if the artwork is to be done in Brawley, or if it's to be done in El Centro, or if it's to be done anywhere in the Valley, it would be done by a Valley artist. So I want to make that clear. So artwork by Valley artists who know their own community, who want to share a story or their talent in some other form, or in an art expressive form that can help beautify the community at the same time. Okay, so then there has also been studies done that I want to quickly speak on, that organized art muralism, or having an organized strategy to create an artwork on otherwise blank spaces, can discourage or deter graffiti and vandalism. So I have a couple examples right here that you can look at, but I also have the most recent example, of course, is what El Centro is doing with the utility box art program. The first sentence actually in the article published by the Calexico Chronicle reads, and I quote, "A quilt of sorts is being unfurled across the city to help beautify streetscapes and reduce graffiti." So they've done the research as well, and so they know the power of art on blank spaces, and what that can do and how that can deter, like I said, graffiti artists, because it brings in traffic, brings in people traffic. And of course, like where do graffiti artists go or vandals go? They go to places that are not frequently visited by people. So like sparse places, or just like places out in the middle of nowhere, or just like an area where they can maybe get away with the crime that they're doing. And also, like, who is most attracted to blank walls, of course, are the graffiti artists. So if they see another artwork, they tend to respect that. So right, so then that's sort of my reasoning as well.
Yeah,
And then,
I'm sorry to interrupt. You know,
of course.
I took part in a project as a teenager, and it was very successful in the east side of Brawley. And not to cut you off, but I actually, just to save some time.
Yeah, of course.
I would make a motion to approve this item, and hopefully there's a second, not trying to be rude, but, we've had, these long presentations, but we have so many coming up
I
right now.
know, yeah, I have like 2 slides left.
Okay.
So all I wanted to do is that there's a step-by-step process we want to start as soon as possible, as soon as you guys can approve this, if you do, and I'd be very grateful, and I'm sure the city of Brawley will be as well. And, yeah, I don't know how they can, oh, okay.
There's a picture of.
So that's the image. It says "Greetings from Brawley, California," and that will be on this wall. The dates, of course, don't match because we've had to postpone this, but we would like to start as soon as possible, and we're going to have the reveal on Saturday, the 16th. So the day before Easter is when we're going to open this up to the public, and I hope to see you all there. That'd be wonderful. So thank you so much for your time, and
Send us an invite. I want to be there for sure.
Can you go to your last slide, though? Don't you have some examples from around the world?
oh, right.
At least it's
Thank
in
you.
there. I want to know who
I'm
can do
having
that.
trouble. I'm going forward. Oh, here we
There
go.
you go.
You mean that
I
one?
wish you could blow that up, but yeah, like.
Yeah, so here are some examples of, you have the blank spaces with Ringo there and the Beatles.
It
You
was
have
the
the blank
Ringo
space.
is kind of what I honed in on,
Right,
yeah.
so you have just the little, like the seat there that you could, I don't know what that is actually, it's just there, and some artist just transformed that into Ringo
Water well
Starr.
or something like that. Yeah, it is.
About to, yeah, hit his drum. And then you have on the left, it's just a gigantic blank wall. That's what we'd like to be working with also in the future for other walls, any blank wall, just something very neutral, like I said, just positive and maybe related to the city in that sense. And then in the bottom as well, we have 2 other examples of, and there's just a large transformation that you can see, and it's better to just stare at, this fictional forest that some great artist from the Valley has done rather than this blank wall.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it. I also want to just make a comment
I
that
do too.
I know in the recent past, there's been some efforts by some business owners downtown to try to do some kind of art beautification, whether it's with crosswalks, making some creative crosswalks, or other types of art, wall murals and that kind of stuff. And I'm for that. If it's done tastefully and it's, as you said, kind of a reflection of the community values, I think it would be a really neat addition to downtown and to other parts of our town that, just to brighten it up and something pretty to look at, so. Thank you,
Starts with
sir.
something,
Yeah.
We had the bike stands that were installed with a music theme. There's just things that we have done, crosswalks,
Yeah.
other things, but we've talked about murals in the past, and I've been supportive of that, and I want to see it happen, so.
And we passed we're an arts district.
Yeah.
And I know
We
beginning
are an
with
arts
the.
district.
DS Arts,
Yeah.
located downtown. It's always
Yeah.
kind of a beginning and a start, but.
Our city attorney is an artist,
he's an artist,
so.
painting right now.
Yeah.
It's- I think maybe if you can paint fries with cheese or something on the side, that'll be, pretty symbolic.
It's our community values.
Yes, I think it'll be an important project for us. They also include some involvement with elementary school kids, or junior high, I think it's Barbara Worth. So with them involved in the painting, I think that's important because sometimes the Barbara Worth kids are maybe the ones that are out there graffitiing, or some of the kids that are in the local schools. So I think we have to be careful about that. But involvement of them, I think, would cut down on the likelihood of that happening.
Yeah.
I am a little
Yeah.
concerned about the graffiti side, only because, it could happen. We want to be prepared for that. We
Yeah.
don't want it to happen, but I think involvement of the kids in the community, in the painting, will help that.
Yeah.
So that's a positive. The only other question I had is, this is going to come from the graffiti budget that the chief of police controls. Is that in agreement? Is the chief have a problem with that? Is that okay with you? Okay, just wanted to make that known. With that, are there any other public comments from anyone out there that would like to comment on
I
this?
apologize, I kind of rushed there.
There you go.
It's all right. It's all right, we got a long agenda. So,
Good evening, Isabel Solis, 1135 Appleway. I'm also president of Los Amigos de la Comunidad, and as a matter of fact, I'm an academic coach at Barbara Worth Junior High, so I know what you're talking about, but yes, they are very eager. As a matter of fact, we had some drawings that students participated in from BUHS and also Barbara Worth, and so they were on display for the Cesar Chavez. And we'd like to say that we are very for this project, and as a partner, Los Amigos de la Comunidad Incorporated would like to donate $500.
Yay! Okay, with that,
Let me just say, apologize one more time. It sounds rude, but today I beat some of the other members to, because we have so much to go through, and we all read and not to downplay how important it is, because it is. Like I said, I took part in this as a teenager, and it worked. It builds community pride, especially if you involve the kids. So, thank you, and I want to, once again, I apologize for.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Okay, motion carries.
I'm going to blame that on Rachel.
Thank you.
by the way.
Okay.
Mayor, clarification for the record, who second? Mr.
I did.
Mr. Hamby.
Thank you.
Came from over here.
Thank you for the question. I'd almost forgotten it. 5E, okay, review and approve training and associated budget adjustments for Detective Daniel Schleier to attend the Internet Crimes Against Children National Law Enforcement Training on Child Exploitation in Atlanta, Georgia, using one-time funding awarded by the San Diego Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. Presented by Jimmy Duran, Chief of Police. There you go, Chief.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council, city manager, public, and city staff. Yes, we're hoping that you would approve the training requests and associated budget adjustments with this training. This is for Detective Daniel Schleier. And this is to attend the Internet Crimes Against Children conference. By the way, I have attended this conference before, and it's very well thought of. You get a lot of information out of this. But those who are not familiar with Internet Crimes Against Children, this is the group that proactively identifies and arrests sexual predators in our community. And we are proud to say that we're part of that. Not all the municipalities work with this task force. We do so on a part-time basis. And I think we are very effective at doing so. And a lot of times we do have a lot of unsung heroes, and I think Detective Daniel Schleier, in my book, he's one of them. I'm glad that he's here. I didn't know he was going to be here. So I think he's truly should be recognized today, because of the work that he does. I'll give you an example really quick. This is an email that I got on a Saturday when they were doing an operation, an ICAC operation. And, I can't read the whole thing, but it says like this: today, officers made an ICAC arrest. Subject crossed the border from Mexico with the intent to have sex with a minor. Now, this is the kind of work that Detective Schleier is doing out there. Within the last year, he's done about 10 arrests. Again, he protects our children from these sexual predators. I mean, this is important work that's happening in our community, and I wish I could disclose more, but I will give you this news release. This is from the Department of Justice. They actually did a news release on one of Detective Schleier's arrests, where the subject got sentenced to 162 months in prison. I mean, this is the kind of stuff of work that Detective Schleier is doing. So I don't know, I want to take this time, I don't know if it's appropriate, but I think we need to recognize him at this point for the type of work that he does. I think we need to give him an applause. University. So I'm sorry that I took advantage of this time, but I think it's appropriate. So I will give you this news release. That way you can read it and you can see, some of these tactics don't get publicly released, but you can pretty much see what we do there. And again, I do ask that this training we approve. The cost is $2,500. And again, it's going to be reimbursed by the ICAC task force. So at this point, it's no cost to the city.
Very good, very good.
Mr. Mayor,
Go
just a
ahead.
question, obviously getting this kind of specialized training and then obviously the networking, et cetera, I know there's best of practice, all that stuff. Is this actually a certified training, or is it more of an attend and get information?
No, this is this training is actually made by the ICAC task force. So all the speakers, everybody's ICAC certified, because remember, the ICAC task force is pretty much a nationwide program. There's different task forces in every region. And so this is not like post-certified, but it's certified at the ICAC task force level.
Yeah, understood. I just wanted to differentiate. I know years in the past, you've been kind of front and center of this program in the valleys. So just great to see our participation, and thank you, Detective Schleier, for stepping up and obviously furthering our capability here. This is obviously a segment of society that certainly for Brawley's benefit, but also the valley's benefit, that we stay on top of. Thank you.
Chief, if anybody wanted to report interactions, if we run into something, social, this is online stuff, we wanted to report, what's the best way to go about it?
Well, like always, any type of report needs to go to the police department immediately. I know sometimes people want to remain anonymous, and remember, we also have other ways of doing that. There's WeTip, although we don't have WeTip here in the city, but it is made available through the task force and through the local task force at LECC. And of course, by contacting the police department, even using Neighbor, something like that, any social media, outlet, anything, any way, and of course, we always tell people the best way is go to the police department, report it, and we'll be happy to help you. And just to add on that, we are also increasing our ability to process, hardware and software. And that's something that we're working separately from this, but it's just to support this type of work. As you know, a lot of these crimes are initiated on social media or using wireless devices, and we are working hard at getting additional technology here in our city to really promote this task force and to continue the excellent work that Daniel Schleier is doing.
Yeah, no, thank you, Chief, and thank you, Detective Schleier. I personally want to thank you. I have two little kids that are always online, little girls, and I can't tell you how many times I went on and I felt an adult, trying to chat with my 8-year-old daughter, and it's scary. It's scary because it's so easy to persuade a child to believing, what an adult is doing. So thank you so much. Your work is very valuable, and as a father, I thank you for that.
And I have also spoken with Detective Schleier about his work in these types of cases, and so I'm very aware of his ability and his good job of working on these types of cases, solving these types of crimes, or getting somebody arrested that may be a potential abuser of children. And so, yes, so I'm very proud of his work and the police department's work on all of this, and yes, I'm certainly in favor of sending him to the training.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve this item and also at the same time thank you as well, Detective Schleier, for the work that you're doing. It's not a pleasant job, and you deal with some of the scum of the earth in your job description, and I see it as kind of like a shield. You're like a shield for these little ones that are so vulnerable. So thank you for the work that you do.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
A second.
Okay, I have a second. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Got it, Chief. Okay. Item 5F, discussion and potential action to approve expenditure plan and approve resolution of the City Council of the City of Brawley, California, to accept grant funds from the State of California Citizens Option for Public Safety, or COPS, fiscal year 2021 through the State of California Local Safety and Protection Account, presented by Jimmy Duran, Chief of Police.
Once again, good evening. I am requesting that you approve the expenditure plan and resolution to accept the grants fund from this COPS grant, also known as California Citizens Option for Public Safety. And we have identified $169,304.82 that are available for distribution to the city. This is for fiscal year 2020 and 21. And in order to receive this grant funding, it is required that we adopt a resolution so we can accept the funding. And of course, that would allow us to go and do so immediately. So at this point, I would request that you do so. And again, the fiscal impact is a plus to the city. This is money that we can use for police and communication equipment and services. That's what we are planning on using it on. That's our expenditure plan. And again, the amount is $169,304.82. And again, this is all grant funding.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Item 5G, discussion and potential action to adopt a resolution of the City Council of the City of Brawley, California, authorizing the investment of monies in local agency investment fund presented by Carla Romero, Finance Director, City Treasurer. Again.
Hello again, yes. This is not a new account for the city. The city has actually invested monies with LAIF, short abbreviation for Local Agency Investment Fund, since 1988. What we are doing, though, is we are updating the resolution in order to update titles. The current resolution has the city treasurer and finance director separate. Current resolution does not list the city manager, but I think it's really important for the city manager to always know if we are opening or closing any bank accounts. And so I'd like to recommend that we add him to the list of authorized people on the resolution. So we just continue to invest money as we have been, and we're just updating our current listing of authorized
I have a question, Mr. Mayor.
users.
Okay.
Yes.
You think he's a person we can trust with that
I
responsibility?
do. Yes. We actually have
Just wanted to ask,
two
right?
LAIF accounts. This one is for the general LAIF account. We do have one for the successor agency of the redevelopment agency for the city. And I'm trying to close out that account because we don't have any activity really. And what is happening is we may have to bring another resolution just to update the titles to then close out that account.
Okay.
So if so, I will be here again at the next meeting with a similar item.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
Okay, who seconded?
Donnie.
Donnie? Okay, and I would say that I do trust him, so I think we can accept that.
That's a closed session item.
Who could have trust that face?
Couldn't trust that.
Trust him.
Sure. Okay, all right,
just wanted to hear
so
it.
have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Just so you know,
Those
Tyler,
opposed?
I would,
Okay.
sorry, I would
Okay.
trust you with my ATM card if I needed to. Are you careful?
I had a question on that, Carla. When you close out that redevelopment agency account, does that go away, like that whole title, or no, there's a whole lot more to that?
The redevelopment agency itself does not go away. It's just, we wouldn't have a third-party, like, investment of funds.
Mm-hmm.
And so those funds would then just stay in our bank account, in our operating bank account when we receive them. So normally we receive money, and then the next month we pay it out for debt service. So the time that it's in our possession is really under 30 days. And so to be transferring it back and forth from LAIF, it's not occurring right now. We just have a balance, and then we just need to close it out.
So that money will
Good
sit,
question.
though, it still won't be used?
Right. The cash will stay within our operating bank account.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
So we'll see if I have to bring one back.
Yeah.
I'll find out tomorrow.
And the balance of that's what, about 15?
Mr. Mayor.
$15,000.
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I just make a motion to approve this next item? Or do you want to discuss it?
I don't have any problem with that, but I need to read it though.
Sure.
first, I think. Okay, all right. So then we have item number 5H, discussion and potential action to approve amendment number 2 to Milo Janitorial Incorporated for continued janitorial services through April 5th, 2024, with no increase to the monthly amount of $8,406, and authorize the city manager to execute the amendment presented by Guillermo Cias, Public Works Director. And Guillermo, I would like you to pause just a moment. I think I have a motion on this already.
Mr. Mayor, thank you very much. I've read the backup material. I would like to make a motion to approve the item.
Do I have a second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Anybody have any questions about it? If not, all those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Okay, moving right along. Item 5I, discussion and potential action to approve ordinance ordinance of the City Council of the City of Brawley, California, establishing the installation of four-way stop signs at the intersection of D Street and Fifth Street, presented by Guillermo Cias, Public Works Director.
Yes, this item is to install stop signs and crosswalks at the intersection of D Street and Fifth Street. Armando is putting the aerial picture. The north is up, and on the horizontal direction is D Street, and on the vertical direction is Fifth Street.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because they kept.
Where the little hand is the Johnny Burritos.
Yes.
So you're just gonna finish
business?
it off, right? Because there's already a stop sign.
North.
Oh, on the north-south direction,
Yeah.
there's a
Yeah.
stop sign, but on the other direction, there's nothing, so they are driving by without stopping, and there's a lot of youth and
Lot of kids.
children walking
Yes, playing
from
in that area.
the junior high.
And they get going pretty fast on that street too, so that'll slow them down a bit.
Right, and we receive complaints, and concerns from citizens about children crossing there.
Okay.
And so that it was proposed by the Traffic Safety Committee to install, and everybody agrees that it's in the benefit of the children to install those signs.
Yeah, we have a lot of.
North-south edition of the stop signs, is that?
On the east-west direction,
Uh-huh.
so it will be the installation.
Okay.
The north-south, they have already
They have them right now.
Yeah.
stop signs.
It would be the four-way.
Right, four-way
It'll be
stop.
four-way.
right, yeah,
And that
pretty
is a
much.
bit of a blind spot as well when you're trying to
Yes.
pull out from, what is that, Fifth Street. You just-
And there's a
you know,
tremendous amount of youth that
Yeah.
cross that cross-and-walk area in big crowds, and so that can be an ongoing issue. And people do speed down through there, because there is no real stop
Yeah.
until they get down to like Imperial Avenue.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to
Okay.
approve the item.
Second.
And I have a second? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, those opposed? No. Okay. All right, passed. Okay, item 5J, discussion and potential
So,
action to
Mr. Mayor,
adopt.
sorry to interrupt. I
go
just, there will be a second reading, right, Alma, to adopt this resolution. So this will be the first reading. The next council meeting will be, or in 30 days, or the next one will be the second reading, and then it will be fully approved. And then 30 days after, it will get into effect.
You'll put the stop signs in.
After 30 days of the second reading approval.
Then they'll go in, but they'll go in and you'll make it clear that, they have to stop because we're going to have people running stop signs
Right,
there
right.
for a
So
while.
we can
It's the
set it
first
up.
reading first, right? We approve this, then it's going to be the
Then
first
second
reading.
At the next meeting.
Uh-huh. And then the second reading, yeah.
Then 30 days from
after
that,
yeah.
and then after that, they'll be
Right.
installed sometime after that period of time. And
Right.
then you'll do the usual where you put up the bigger signs and we make sure everybody's aware
Right,
of it.
yes,
Okay.
for them to be aware that is coming.
All right, very good. That sounds great. Okay. Item 5J, discussion and potential action to adopt resolution of the City Council of the City of Brawley, California, authorizing the submission of the City of Brawley's proposed projects in response to Imperial County Transportation Commission's, the ICTC Congestion Mitigation and Air Quality Call for projects 2022, for projects for fiscal years 2023, 2022-23, 23-24, and 24-25, presented by Guillermo Cias.
Yes, as you might recall, the item with the traffic signals, and recently ICTC offered these grants for CMAQ, Congestion Mitigation, Air Quality, and STBG, Surface Transportation Block Grant.
Okay.
And the city of Brawley, among the other cities in the valley, apply for funds for different projects.
Okay.
And I consider a good opportunity to fund our replacement, rehabilitation, repair, of these signals. And a couple of months ago, you approved the contract with the consulting company to perform the study. So it came at the right time to have this evaluation and to let us know approximately what will be the money that is needed for the replacement, rehabilitation of the cabinets and electrical components, not the hardware, because it requires also replacement, the mast arms and the poles, foundations, conduits, things like that. But at least the functionality, it will be included in as part of these grants, and also the synchronization. So let's say that in the future, when this project is completed, Public Works will be able to synchronize, to manage, shut down, make changes on the cycles from a computer. So it will be very, useful to be able to manage. Of course, that the physical work still is needed, right? Repairs, replace bulbs on other components, but at least once it's operating properly, so we can, take advantage of detect problems, in a computer. So that's, and this is for fiscal year 22-23, meaning that October 1st, we will start the process. In the meantime, we will do the design. I will come back for you to approve the design with the consultant to have the project ready when the time comes to do the construction. So this is, in other words, it's just for construction. So we will have to pay design from local funds, but it is a great opportunity to get them replaced all at once.
Oh, cool.
And for clarification, this is a priority project, but there's more monies that we would be receiving in the future years based on, from these CMAQ and the others, right?
Well, for this one, it is what we need. We will receive 700,000 from the grant, and the local share will be 147, 550, something like that. Yep. And with that, it will be complete. But later on, we can apply for other grants to replace little by little the hardware or modernize the intersections, the signals.
Okay.
But
But at least the basic will be covered.
Okay.
And the fiscal impact for our portion is mostly covered by other funds other than general fund, right?
Measure D.
Yep.
Relinquishment
Thank you, you're
funds
reading my
and,
mind.
and Measure D. Right.
It says,
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion. What's the pleasure?
I'll motion to
Okay.
approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
second.
All right. Any other questions? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, Guillermo. Okay, item 5K, discussion and potential action to adopt resolution of the City Council of the City of Brawley, California, authorizing the submission of the City of Brawley's proposed projects in response to ICTC Surface Transportation Block Grant 2022 call for projects for fiscal years 2022-23, 23-24, and 24-25, presented by Guillermo.
Yes, this is the other grant that I mentioned that was released together with the CMAQ, and we applied all together with the other cities in the valley, and we were able to obtain what we requested for the rehabilitation of B Street from Eastern Avenue to Palm, and that will be for fiscal year 23-24 for the design, and then construction in fiscal year 24-25. But at least it's in our schedule, so we will start designing more than a year, but it's scheduled. We will have the money secured once it's approved, and ICTC and CTC approves it. So that's what we are asking for you to approve. Any question that you have on this?
Okay. B Street from Eastern Avenue to Palm, okay. Do I have a,
Received many complaints about the, condition of this segment, and we apply for that.
I think I've heard people complain
Right.
about that, yeah. So hopefully we'll get that on the queue to get it done. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll motion.
Okay.
I'll second it.
And there's a second. Okay, Hamby. Okay, if no other questions, all those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Moving right along. Thank you, Guillermo. Now we'll go to item number 6, which is a study session, hopefully brief study session. 6A, review of current capital improvement carryover projects and discussion of fiscal years 2022-23 and 2026-27 preliminary proposed capital improvement program and heavy equipment presented by Carla Romero, Finance Director, City Treasurer. And I apologize for the brief statement, but
Oh, we
we've been
can
here a
go
while.
as long or as fast or as slow as you'd like.
I think he already knows you.
Yes, the slides are only about 6 slides anyway.
Okay.
And they would be very high level.
Yeah, about a
Yes,
ton of
pictures.
information on each one.
So we do have all of our department heads here and managers available to answer any questions regarding the particular projects. They're all listed in detail in your attachments. Overall, the theme of all of the projects is that we're leveraging our one-time funding sources. No general fund monies is being put into the capital improvement program at this time. The focus for the next 2 years with ongoing projects and new projects are road improvements, water and wastewater improvements. So this is a listing of our carryover projects. These are projects that are currently funded, currently in our budget, that will be carried over because they are multi-year projects. So the funding will also carry forward into next year's budget. There's a total of 30 projects. That's your attachment 1. There's one project that was deleted, and you'll see a little line through it because that project was identified as being a repair and maintenance item for $40,000. And so that's the one change regarding the carryover projects. And so the new proposed projects that we would like to incorporate into next year's budget, of course, this can always change. We have several additional study sessions for next year's budget. But overall, we have 2 carryover projects, 10 new projects, and 3 equipment purchases for a total of about $7.6 million. Again, the majority of those, 94%, would be road improvement related projects. Again, none funded by the general fund, all from special sources.
Okay.
If you want a listing of the projects, they're right here. The 2 in green are the additional funding. They're currently in design phase, with funding in design phase, moving into construction phase. The blue are all of the new projects. And then the ones at the bottom, the yellow, are the vehicles that we're proposing to purchase. So we have 2 for police, 1 for streets, and 1 for the fire department.
Okay.
Can you read the ones in green? I can't see them.
The ones in green are the Legion Road east of Highway 86 frontage to Western Avenue construction, and then also the Western Avenue from Legion Street to Wildcat Drive construction.
Those are those 2.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Carla, I know you
Yes.
mentioned the SMEs are here, but just, is there a sense, I think you mentioned a 2-year span, but I also, or maybe beyond as well, but as far as staying on track, I know that's one of the challenges, because things come up, and like you said, subject to change, but between the carryovers and the news, is there a just high-level sense here that we'll be able to deliver on this over the next few years?
Certainly. Well, what we're doing is we're setting aside the funding so we don't use it for other projects. Doesn't mean you can't reprioritize. And maybe some project doesn't come to fruition and you decide you're going to unfund it. Like I mentioned earlier, we had one that we unfunded, that we put as a repair and maintenance instead within the operating budget. So that could happen, but a lot of these are public works driven projects. Finance certainly helps facilitate any new vehicle purchases, but other than that, the rest, or the majority of these are done through public works, and so, yeah.
All right.
And then kind of looking forward, we also, again, want to focus on long-term planning. So one of the statements, remember when S&P Global gave us our rating increase, they said, we really like the fact that you're doing long-term projections and planning. So looking beyond 23, 24, none of these would be funded with the current or the upcoming budget cycle, but they would be anticipated for future years. Again, those continue to focus on mobility, street improvements, water line and street resurfacing along Main Street is a big one. And then we do have an update to the general plan that is required. The current plan is through the year 2030. It was last updated in 2008. This is usually paid by the general fund, and it could cost up to $1.5 million. So we are already actively looking for grant funding in order to help offset some of the cost. It's a huge endeavor. It usually takes 3 to 4 years to accomplish. So we can't wait until 2029 to start. We really have to start sooner than that. So that's something we're actively looking to fund in the future. And then also what is new this year is we've identified other projects. We sat down as a team and said, what else is needed? What are we currently not putting on our CIP list or capital improvement list that we really should be thinking about? And so we came up with a listing. There's 27 other identified projects. I know we also have dreams of like providing free Wi-Fi and other things that we could totally add to that list. But it just gives you an idea of all of the forward-thinking momentum that we have. And again, that's being sent to our grant writer saying, find us some money to try to get some of these things done. But within that it's like a wish list, but there's also real needs, right? We have a ladder truck that's in there that would need to be replaced, a fire engine that needs to be replaced. So again, it allows us to plan so that when it's time, those move up into those 5-year cycles.
Right. Okay.
And one last slide. So we are going to continue to evaluate our funding sources, see if we can leverage outside resources as much as possible, continue to refine the cost. We'll be adding the cost for those other identified projects as they come available. We're incorporating any changes, discussion, thoughts for tonight into our upcoming presentation. This will be brought back again to you in a month and on May 10th. And then we do have 4 additional budget study sessions, May 10th, May 24th, June 7th, and then the budget is scheduled for adoption on June 21st. So lots of time to provide thoughts, feedback, and incorporate any changes.
Carla, question on the ARPA, wasn't one of the items that we were going to fund was the Main Street
Yes.
infrastructure on that? So there is some money out of ARPA that's set aside for that project, right?
Yes, the $3 million is set aside for year 23-24, and there is potential for another fire vehicle with ARPA money this coming year in 22-23 for $35,000.
Okay.
And Tyler, that project for Main Street that augments the relinquishment funds.
Right, yes. And of course, at a high level, that's the Highway Relinquishment Fund, and ARPA will hopefully be the vast majority of the funding through that project.
Yeah.
And we do have a grant also for $2.6 million. So it's a combination. Remember, we extended it, and we were able to do it all the way from First to Eastern, I believe. And so we're doing it in segments, and so there was additional funding with the ARPA money available.
That will get us past Eastern or?
To Eastern.
To Eastern, okay.
Yes.
Well, that's going to be good.
Yes.
That'll be good, yes.
Well, I appreciate the presentation, this being the study session and upcoming budget sessions. Is there appropriate time? I noticed a lot of the projects, any of the ones that do touch streets, roads, which, there's quite a bit there. We've chatted about this in the past, but not really with a definitive approach or strategic approach, but our non-motorized plan, back to, things are pedestrian ways or sidewalks or bike lanes. I know with certain projects we'll freshen that up sometimes, or maybe we add that, but if we can also make that a point of emphasis, because I don't believe some of that has to cost us a bunch more money when we're redoing roads, but if we can start, I just think as a community continue, right, to put emphasis on it, because if we don't do that, or it's not going to happen, right? We're going to resurface roads, and they're going to be done, and they look great, but at the same time, they're just such a great benefit, obviously, to encourage the non-motorized, mobility of our community. So bikes and pedestrian a little bit.
I will say that a lot of the grant funding requires that now as well, to have some mobility and street striping, access for bikes, pedestrians, and so I see Guillermo behind me, and I'm sure he can answer that better. But I do know it's required most of the time.
If we can swim around town, that'll be good too. You know,
Yes, I would like to make a
Lazy
comment
river.
that
Sometimes you can. Sometimes you can.
as part of the list of projects that we have to deliver this coming fiscal year, we have a joint effort with one of the developers of Ocotillo Springs, where the previous administration and this administration, they signed as co-applicant for this grant, and includes 2.7 million in several components. One of those they call sustainable transportation infrastructure that includes 2.32 miles of bike lanes, 1.63 miles of sidewalk. That sidewalk will be on Main Street, I Street, Adler, and Mayland Avenue.
Malin's a big
And also, there's another component that they call TRA, that is transportation-related amenities, that pretty much is to install street lights from, I believe that is 8th Street to Eastern Avenue. And also the acquisition of 30 vans that will promote like van pools, riderships, and that will be in conjunction with Cal Vans and the administration of this grant. So for a total of $2.7 million. So we will coming back later on for you to approve design and construction project for these bike lanes, sidewalk, and the acquisition of the vans, in conjunction with this developer. So it is in this fiscal year included some ATPs, or active transportation program.
That's fantastic.
Just
Jim,
for
if you could,
information.
yeah, I'd love to, and maybe you forwarded it in the past, so if I missed that, but if we can get that information, that'd be wonderful. I'd like to.
Right, yes.
be able
Yeah,
to
we will
pass
provide
that
it,
around.
a breakdown
Yeah.
in the other study sessions for you to see what is included in those projects.
Perfect. Thank you.
There was a question from the public too.
You have a question?
Gentleman actually just answered my question. I'm glad that you guys are adding bike lanes, but if you don't add lighting, it's really an inconvenience, because in the summer, as we have young children, we do not go out because it's too hot. So we wait until the sun goes down to get outside time. So we usually try to stay indoors from 10 to 4 p.m. And then we go outside after 4 p.m. But usually when the sun is setting, like around 7:38, there's not enough lighting sometimes to get home. So we would really appreciate more lighting to help keep us active in our community. So I'm glad that he mentioned that there is lighting in that plan, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Guillermo, I missed it. When you said there's a lighting component to that, but is that combined or is it a separate? I somehow missed the whole, I know I heard both, but I didn't know if it was like in.
What is the question again?
You mentioned there was a lighting included in that, those requirements.
Yes,
DRA.
part of the grant includes the design and installation of the street lights along Main Street to Eastern Avenue.
But not in combination with the bike lanes and whatnot?
No, different streets. So the bike lanes are in Street Jones and Cesar Chavez.
Great.
So Cesar Chavez will change the configuration. Right now, we have the through lanes in both ways and one center lane to make turns. It will change similar to Mayland Street, where there will be two ways or one lane each direction with parking and one class 2 bike lane, which is the 5 feet designated with the symbols and everything for bicycles. So that will change. And the sidewalk will be installed in all different locations because we had to identify where it's missing. So where John Street and Cesar Chavez, the bike lanes were missing and were included on the non-motorized transportation plan, so we had to install those. And also the sidewalks on Main Street are missing, I Street, Adler, and Mayland, so we don't have sidewalks there, among other locations, right? So we propose that and will be installed there. Similarly, the street light will be in an area where there's no lights, like on Main Street and on that segment, right, from 8th Street to Eastern.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Any other questions? Any other questions for Carla? No. Okay, I don't think we have to take any action on this. This is just informational. So,
Yeah, just as a reminder, we do have our landing page for next year's budget, so I'll be putting this item on there tomorrow morning. So
Okay.
somebody's not having to dig around for information regarding next year's budget. They can just go to one page on the city's website.
okay. Very good. Thank you very much. Item number 7, informational report, record of building permits for February 2022 in the city of Brawley, prepared by Oscar Escalante, interim building official, and that's a part of your package, 137, 138. Any questions on that? If not, we'll move to the next item, 7B, 2022 Brawley Spring Cleanup, May the 7th, 2022, from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Any other information on that? I think there's a flyer included in your information. And
And this flyer went out in the utility building
I think I saw it, yes.
No, post on the website. too.
and on the website.
We'll do it.
Right. And it will require that people do go out to the landfill. It's not the one like the airport setup. It's to the landfill, and then we'll be working on one for the airport setup in the future. So,
That is
okay.
correct, sir.
Okay. All right. Any questions on that? If not, and then we'll go to item number 8, departmental reports, monthly staff report for March 2022, presented by Shirley Benias, Personnel and Risk Management.
Good
I had a
evening, Mayor, council
bug
members.
attacking me up here.
I'm sorry, Mayor?
I had a bug attacking me. up here.
Oh,
I'm sitting there
you're
going like
slapping
this.
the counter
Yeah, yeah.
because the
It
bugs
wasn't
are
because of
attacking you.
It wasn't related to.
I get that.
Okay.
Honorable Mayor, council member Shirley Benias, Personnel and Risk Management. PD's looking really good with only one officer opening. And as you can see, dispatchers are fully staffed. Yay.
Nice.
We're in the final stages of 2 recruitments, that being fire marshal and police sergeant, so yay on that. We are conducting, my city manager tells me, the 5th round of interviews for building inspector this week. Management analyst interviews are next week on the 12th. And we have promoted a in-house candidate from utility worker 2 to lead man. So Ricardo Rosales, he got promoted to lead man, and we're moving forward in public works as well. And we had a new part-time supervisor clerk start at the library today as well, Stephen Garcia. So he's joined the Brawley team.
Ms. Shirley, when, if you can recall, when's the last time PD and dispatch has been full force?
PD was when nobody else was hiring in San Diego County, probably 2014, 2015. We were fully staffed on police officers. I don't recall a time we were fully staffed for any prolonged period for dispatch.
Dispatcher.
Been a long, long time.
Yes.
Yes, sir, it has been. So
Nice.
kudos to the
Sweet.
dispatching crew and getting everybody trained. That process of training is over a year long, and that's hands-on. So it's a very difficult, I think I multitask, but they put me to shame.
Okay. Very good.
Be glad to answer any other questions you may have.
Any other questions for Shirley?
Surely not a question, well, maybe it is, just I can also see the report on, we're starting to crank up a little bit for Parks and Rec. There's some temps and some
Yes, thank you.
lifeguards and, yeah, I'm just.
Yes,
putting
we'll
that-
be opening those positions. Rachel's had her hands full. Linda left us, as you know, at the end of December 2021, and we still don't have a permanent replacement for her. We are in the background stages with somebody. This is the second go-around on the background stage, so hopefully this candidate will clear, but currently attending school, so she'll be able to give us full-time 8 to 5, probably starting in June. So we're just on the final stages. Have a couple more steps, and that person will come on board. This is all-time high on the number of openings, so, but we're down 3. We were 13 just a couple months ago, so we're down to 10, so.
Thank you, Shirley.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sure.
Thank you for asking that question on when's the last time we were fully staffed on police officers. As a resident, that's embarrassing. And I want you to think of ways to maybe offer a committee where the neighborhood could help. And I know there's probably legalities, but we could do fingerprints because it's really unfair. As a parent myself, I deal with having to raise my kids, and I've had situations where I reach out to the sheriff's department and I want to go drop off my kid. And they tell me we can't do anything about it because of COVID. And so I'm left having to contact the district and ask them, how can I parent? Because if I parent the way I was parent, I'll end up in county jail. So you are really suffocating me as a parent because I'm left with having to go on long walks to figure out what to do with my son. And it's hard. And I know most people wouldn't be accountable of knowing you don't need to cross that line. I know our society is a lot more willing to raise their children the way they were raised. But I think that as a city, we need to be more proactive, and we shouldn't just be relying on, it's too lengthy of a process to get officers in. You have a community that is willing to help, but you guys are creating boundaries that doesn't allow us to work together, and I don't like it. So I just keep that in mind. You don't have to, give me any feedback now, but I'm just telling you it's really frustrating. And as parents, I could talk to the district. I could, with Brawley Elementary, they could provide me counseling, but at the end of the day, provide counseling just to my child. But at the end of the day, as a parent, I'm kind of left with my hands behind my back. The same way the police officer told me his hands are behind his back when I call and I'm seeing kids smoke weed as they leave school. So we need to do better, and we need to be more proactive. And those are my 2 cents.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ma'am, just one comment. Just to be clear, the point was that I was trying to make, maybe I wasn't clear, is that we are fully staffed now.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So, but at the end of the day, if the police officers aren't able to do more than just check up on kids, I think that we need to be providing more as a city. So I would highly encourage to look for grants to educate parents on how to just be there and inform our kids on not to do crime. I know I believe it was the deputy's office that used to have a good program. Maybe that's something our city could look into. It was district attorney's office. Okay. So somebody let me know about that. So look into it, please. I'd greatly appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to laugh when you made that comment, but it instantly, every memory flashed.
Right?
And so, but I'll be the first to tell you it doesn't work. I mean,
Right?
I didn't do anything but encourage my bad behavior.
Yes,
so.
Chief.
Ma'am, if I may add something just to your comments, let me tell you that we are proactively changing the way we hire officers, and that's what we've been able to do within the last year. A year and a half ago, we were down so many officers that it was ridiculous, so I admit what you were saying, but that was a year and a half ago. Now we're fully staffed. We changed our practices, and this will no longer happen. Now, I can promise you that while I'm here, it's not going to happen. Now, that takes us to the next step, and I do agree with you. Our youth needs help. Our youth needs programs out there, and that's what we're trying to do. We are trying to seek grants at this point. For many years, our schools were left without SROs. We actually assigned an SRO, that's a school resource officer, last year. We are trying to get 3 additional officers be hired for that purpose, because we know there's a need in the school, and we know that we can do something for them, and not just arrest individuals, but work with them. We want to work with the community. We want to educate our community. We want to educate our youth, and we're trying to get our police athletic league back up and running, but it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of effort, and we are hearing the community. We are looking for grants. So I appreciate your concerns, and they are well taken, but I just want to let you know that we are working on it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, let's move on, and we will move on to item number 9, City Council Member Reports. Mr. Hanby.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't have a whole lot to report, but I was honored to be able to go to Pioneers Memorial Hospital and present some proclamations or certificates of recognition for a couple of long-term employees in their radiology department that have been working there for 30-plus years. On behalf of Mayor Couchman, he wasn't able to attend that.
Thank you for that.
And also in this past couple weeks, able to attend a couple different autism awareness events and proclamations at the county and other city councils. I've had a couple of meetings and conversations with business owners in town that are facing some hurdles or barricades, and they're just trying to come up with solutions, working with city staff, city manager, and working through city council to try to come up with some solutions to get over those hurdles. And it's one of those, it's part of our job description, I guess, as elected officials. Sometimes we are the face or the first person that someone will come to when they're having an issue or they feel like they're facing a barricade within the city. But so I appreciate that part of the job, and I'm also very appreciative of our city manager, who has such an attitude of getting things done and finding solutions, and the cliche of thinking outside the box. But Tyler really does his research and tries to come up with creative ways to get past hurdles that if everyone's not exactly happy, at least everyone has the same level of dissatisfaction, but we've gotten through the problem and gotten over the hurdle. So I'm glad to be a part of that process from time to time. We don't always get that. Sometimes they go directly to city staff, but sometimes we get to kind of stand in the gap. And other than that, I just, my mom had a birthday yesterday, so I just want to publicly wish her a happy birthday here in City Council. Thank you.
Saw your post. It's very
You saw my
cute.
post, yeah.
Awesome.
Very good. Mr. Mayor, I'll be brief as well. Did attend the Doves annual Monte Carlo night, their big annual fundraiser that brings all parts of the valley together. For those that did attend, had tremendous attendance. I think it's been a couple years of not having the event. Actually, it was virtual, I think, last couple times. So, I did have the pleasure of hosting/co-hosting with our mayor. Although I might say I did a little bit of the heavier lift.
You did all the work.
Okay. And, no, it was a great night. And, again, really, they did very, very well. Some of the generous donations, contributions that did come in, and really are able to go back out into the community and support multiple charities throughout the valley. So, again, for all those that serve that particular organization and all those that helped, again, you absolutely have our appreciation, my appreciation. Outside of that, I know our dispatchers had to kind of quickly probably go back to work, I assume,
Yeah,
they were in
they just took
uniform.
off.
But I do want to make the comment, because I know we took a photograph, but this is the week, it is National Emergency Communications Week, and to take pause and really understand that I think Shirley was actually kind of hitting on, how difficult it is to become an accomplished communications specialist. But I will tell you, I come from the industry. I have served in the EMS industry now for close to 16 years. Various aspects of it, and I actually work for a company that maintains approximately 70 communication centers across the country. So I have a deep appreciation for what these professionals do, and to see them here today, 3 of them in uniform, really makes me feel very proud. I hate to say it, guys, but the badges and the guns kind of get the sometimes the glory or the hoses, right, Chief? But We all know that our departments are only as good as our front line. Those are the ones that are answering the phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And Mayor Pro Tem, how many times do we talk about all the infrastructure, all the things that run 24/7? That's another example. There's somebody's mother, sister, brother, whatever the case may be, that's manning those phones 24/7. So, Chiefs, if you could continue to echo our appreciation for them, not just the proclamation, but we wouldn't be who we are or where we are. So, really proud of what they do. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, just obviously there were some questions as to last week. I went down with emergency surgery like Monday night, and sorry, like I fell back on work, and you don't realize how much you have going on until you're like completely taken out of the loop, right?
Yeah.
And I am like barely getting back to it, like yesterday and today, and in and out, just trying to get back on it and get everything done. So it's been a very tough week, but here we are. Thank God. I thought I was going to die. So I do thank God that, that we're here for a little longer. So not to be trying to overdo it. But anyways, I also want to echo those, thank our public dispatchers for the work they do. I hang out a lot more on social media than you guys do. And so just I listen to those calls that they receive, and I know, why it's such a difficult position to be in. So, yeah, it's too bad we didn't get to thank them, and they just ran out. They were like, we got to go to work.
Yeah, I don't think they wanted to talk.
No, we don't have time for your politics. It's time to go to work. So, so thank you, them. I'm sure they'll watch the meeting, or you can relay that message, Chief, of how thankful we are for their work. And I'm sure I talked to them on numerous times over the phone. So, I had the opportunity to meet with some business owners myself, and been having to explain a lot of the policies and a lot of the enforcement that is part of the state and a lot of that is to the city. For example, professional licenses or certifications from the state or whatnot. And a lot of times business owners think that it's a city's responsibility. And not that we're trying to blow them off or anything like that, but I think that it's important to also educate the folks out there so that they understand where to go for these type of services. We had complaints, and the ones that are and that do fall under the city's jurisdiction. I'm passing it on to our city manager, and he does a great job of addressing everything that we sent his way. So, I've also met with some constituents, and I'd like to one in the audience today let you know that all your concerns are heard. I take great pride in being an individual that cares a lot about your concerns. We don't always address them here publicly. A lot of that stuff needs to go down the correct channels, and I'll do that, I promise you. And I think I've done that so far. I've been pretty good at that. Lastly, I had the opportunity, I didn't mean to step on your toes, Mr. Mayor, but I got a call on Friday, like if I can go pick out a car for like the best lowrider on behalf of the city.
Hey, I appreciate you being there.
And so I had the opportunity to judge. There were different numbers. There were 150 entries. I heard that there were 135, 140 vehicles that actually made it. And the amount of work that goes into this, I mean, it's impressive. As a little boy, I used to like them. We hop on those things and all that. But I've never really taken into account the time and the work and the money that goes into this. It's an art, and it was beautiful to see all those vehicles. I'm happy to announce that we selected a Brawley vehicle as the city's choice from the La Gente Car Club. Our Eric Alcala his vehicle is 65 Chevy, which happens to be my favorite model, was selected as our favorite. So I apologize if I didn't reach out to you sooner.
That's fine.
Like I said, I've been in and out
appreciate
of.
you being there and helping out.
Yeah, I was walking around holding my gut, trying to
I can't believe you went after surgery.
I even stayed for the band and danced a little.
And then you didn't notify me so I could get a replacement. I don't understand.
Sorry. So Cesar Chavez event was a very successful event. It continues to grow. They have a goal to eventually extend the vehicles that are displayed on Main Street a full mile. So I'm hoping that we can accommodate that. I don't know if it'll be possible, but it certainly was great to see so many car clubs, so many vehicles from all over the state and Arizona coming out here. So very happy. And then lastly, to celebrate the legacy and the work of the man who is Cesar Chavez, and who I'm very proud to say he is a military American veteran. He did a lot of civil rights work here in California. Everybody knows that. And I'm just very proud, as I have tried over my life to be follow a little bit of his example of how he gave so much back to this world, and received very little in return. But he did a lot of work, and he was here. He went to school here in Brawley. He lived in Brawley, and helped us move forward with a lot of the issues of the day. And we continue to see his work continue to affect our communities up and down the state and in the state and this nation. So that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, everyone, for attending and for watching online. I appreciate it very much. So I do want to thank city staff. One department in particular, this time at least, is Parks and Rec for putting on a great event for the community. I know it's, we're starting to have more events come, and I think it was great. It was a movie in the park here, and so that was fantastic. But it's not just Parks and Rec, it's other departments that participate. I do want to really congratulate everybody. I know there's been quite a bit of change, positive change, over the past 10 months here in the city, and so I've been here quite some time, and I've seen some great things happen with just change in direction and leadership. That's really good. I like to see that things are changing and improving. So I want to thank all of staff. Also want to thank and recognize the fact that we are making strides in our recruitment efforts. I think that's really important to recognize. We're hiring great people, and we're making active efforts to fill positions that have been unfilled for some time, and it's making a difference in our community. So I appreciate that very much. I know everybody's working really hard, and we've recognized some people here today even, and then even in approving some of the travel requests for training, and that just goes to show that you're committed and dedicated to the work that you do. So it's everybody. It takes everybody from council to everyone in here and departments and everybody working on behalf of the citizens of the city of Brawley. I know we, sometimes get criticized, but more and more, and I've said it before, for years I've said this, it's like we are our own newspaper. The more we publish about ourselves, of what's taking place, whether that's the police department or the library or Parks and Rec or any department, the more we publish, the more we tell the story of the work that's being done within the city, the more people understand. So I'm glad that that's taking place more and more. And lastly, I do want to recognize Councilmember Hamby. He did perform over at a Westmoreland school for a group of students, and I thought that was a beautiful performance.
Thank you.
And honestly, it was. I'm an emotional person, but it was tear-jerking. It really was. And so it was a great performance. So I congratulate you on that. And not only that, but getting the participation of those students, and then just seeing the teacher's reaction, I thought was beautiful. So great work on that. And I congratulate you. It really was a beautiful performance, so congratulations. So anyway, thanks, everybody.
I have to say, it was emotional.
It was
for
an
me
emotional,
in the moment.
yeah.
I choked up. It was hard to get through that song.
Yeah, no, it was. You did a fantastic job,
Thank
and you really did. And the class singing along, it was a great, and the tempo and everything, just really, really nice. So if you haven't seen it, go and see it on his Facebook page.
There's a video.
Yeah, there's a video there. It's really a beautiful performance.
What was the song?
It's called "Don't Give Up on Me."
Right.
Maybe I'll make the post public so that everybody.
Make it public so we can. I would like for other people to see it. It really is beautiful.
Thank
So
you.
congratulations on that.
YouTube channel?
I haven't uploaded that one to YouTube. I don't know, with the kids in the classroom, I was a little, I wasn't quite sure
You do
how
have to be careful.
Yeah.
But I'll make that public so people can watch it. It's
great.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Great, cool.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe
so.
you could go here.
I think it's special to him in the form that it was a special group of kids.
Yeah,
right? So-
yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good job.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. You finished?
I'm good. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you,
Okay.
everyone.
All right. One thing I wanted to say is I have not been at as many events. My wife had knee surgery, and I've been the nurse for her in the last couple of weeks. So I haven't been able to attend as many events. And poor Wanda, if Sam Couchman's the nurse, she suffered through the last 2 weeks tremendously. And so I just wanted to say I haven't been to as many events. The dog has been helping me. My dog Smooch has been the nurse's aide. And so we've done what we can for her. Actually, she got her stitches out today, and she's doing much better, and she can actually walk because Before, we were having some problems. They've said she can come off the walker. She's going into physical therapy. So I appreciate everybody. I haven't been able to be at as many events or stay at events, and there's been some, some conflicts that I've run into. So, but hopefully I'll be back on track in the next few weeks. So I did, however, I was invited, I did the Doves event, the Monte Carlo night with her. She actually did that before her surgery, and so she's a Dove, and so we went over to that, and I was responsible for part of that. Donnie tried to rope me in, but I resisted all that I could, and I was able to make him do most of the work. So I apologize for that, but it was a great event, probably 400 people over there, and just a tremendous event, and a lot of money raised for charity here in the Valley, and I think that's very, very important. And those ladies worked very hard on the event. And kudos to the Stockman's Club and to the Doves and all the other people that were involved in that event. I also I was invited to the CoLab breakfast, and that's a CoLab breakfast that's held at the Stockman's Club. And so that was a real nice event. They have the IID spokesperson come, they have a county spokesperson come, and they do a little like a state of the IID, state of the county address, a very brief one there for a breakfast, and they invite members of the community and business people sponsor it. And it's an association of labor and business, and they get together and do a lot of different things here in the Valley, advocate for business, and also other topics here in the Valley. And so they're a nice association. And then I had a meeting the other day with grocery outlet owners here in Brawley, and they were delayed in their opening. They have said that they will be opening on June the 2nd, and they would like to have a major grand opening. So they hope to get as much of the public there and city officials there as they possibly can. They've had to have too many soft openings lately for grocery outlets opening in other locations, and they would like this one to be a large one because they can open a little more fully because of the dampening down of the COVID. And so if we can help them out in that way, I would appreciate anybody locally, police department, fire department.
Maybe the fire department.
Everybody being kind of involved in that.
Police
and also
department.
my local, my fellow council members, maybe make plans to attend. And I think they're going to have entertainment, and they're planning to have some free giveaways for food and all of those types of things.
If you tell us to be there, we have to be there.
Huh?
Because it's around the summertime, I would say shoot for the evening, the way Imperial does.
I think they're going to do it, but I think they're going to cut the ribbon outside, but they're going to let people into the store, I think. And so they'll have air conditioning, and so I think they're going to work it out right. I did tell them that it's warmer then, and they know that. They're coming from San Diego. They do live locally now, but they're coming, they're normally, they came out of San Diego, so I don't think they realize how hot it may be going to be. So they need to take steps, and I did tell them that. And so hopefully they'll be able to handle that. So and maybe they can get some blowers or whatever they have to get in order to handle that if they do something outside. So that's what I've done so far in the last couple of weeks. I do appreciate the police department being out there. I've seen them in work. I've seen the fire department responding to a lot of different things. Hopefully we'll dampen that down a little bit there. The fire activity that we've had around the town. We've got some real activity going on, and I'm getting a lot of inquiries from people about businesses. Everybody's vitally interested in that. So I do think we'll be moving forward on all of those types of things. And with that, that is my report.
Mayor, State of the City?
State of the City in May.
May 17th.
May 17th.
Placeholder?
Yes. I will be
And location to be determined?
Yes, we're still looking into that, and the city staff is helping me with that. In fact, they're doing all the work, and so what I'll be doing is I'll just be doing the presenting. So I'm appreciative of that.
That sounds familiar.
I'm very appreciative of that, and so that's what I look forward to. And it'll be State of the City. It'll be I'm looking at a breakfast. I'm looking at a breakfast meeting, kind of go back to the old tradition that we had before COVID. Donnie went to the airport. I think other people have done other things. I was thinking about the taco thing, but I think people go there to eat the tacos. They don't really want to hear me talk. So what we'll do is we'll do a breakfast meeting. I think that might be best. Very low key. And so we'll see how that works out, but that'll be fine. Okay, with that said, city attorney report.
We have closed session, we'll talk about it.
Okay. City clerk report.
We'll be hosting the League of Cities meeting here May 26th at the Stockman's Club.
At the Stockman's Club, and you did work out something with them?
Yes.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so, and then we will now go to closed session. We appreciate everybody being here and appreciate you all in attendance, and have a safe evening for the rest of the evening.
Thank you.